Good evening once again, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Behind the Leazes Podcast. And happy Halloween as well. We've had a few trick-or-treaters to our door. We had this little lovely pumpkin out as well, is drawn up by me. It's got a little tooth on and everything. Of course, resembles myself. But we have got Adam P here as well. It's just the two of us for this podcast. But hello, Adam. How's it going, mate? You all right?
I'm doing good, mate. Nice pumpkin, by the way. But yeah, I'm not really a sort of person that celebrates Halloween. I mean, obviously, I've got all the trick-or-treaters and stuff like that. But personally, for me, I haven't got any costumes, anything like that. My focus is Newcastle United, and it always will be.
Folks, fair play, mate. You're very, very devoted. You're very committed. And I must say, hats off to you for enduring that game yesterday. Of course, we are talking about that 3-0 defeat to Chelsea. Of course, they are the champions of Europe. They are leading the title charge at the minute, but I didn't expect us to maybe lose the way that we did, especially after such a good 60 minutes, Adam.
No, I mean, Newcastle capitulated yesterday. It's a simple way of putting it. Yes, obviously, the champions of Europe is always going to be a hard match, but they weren't that good yesterday. At times, Newcastle, we just never looked like trying. We never attempted to put pressure on Chelsea. We allowed them to have the possession and eventually done some of the possession, but we gifted them the goals. I mean, it wasn't like they scored world-class goals. With Matt Ritchie, both sides, left-hand side, leaves James, scores a brace. I mean, Dollar gives away a penalty. It's basic stuff. I mean, I'm sick of coming on week in and week out and just saying, oh, well, he's give away a goal, he's give away a goal. I mean, it's the same individuals all the time. And against Chelsea, we've got to be doing better. I mean, yes, it was a hard game, but when you don't get results against the likes of Leeds, Southampton at home, you've got to go for these big results, and we didn't do it.
You mentioned Matt Ritchie. It was possibly his fault for some of the goals. You say it was definitely his fault for a couple of them at least. Does it annoy you that we are still having to start Matt Ritchie in 2021 when he's getting a bit older? We've got the likes of Jamal Lewis on the bench as well.
Well, it doesn't matter what his age is. He's not a left back to begin with, so why would you keep playing him as a left wing back or a left back and a full back? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I'm sure Jamal Lewis is a better left back than Matt Ritchie. I don't know. I'm not in around the training ground. I don't know these players personally, but I just don't see that. I don't see how Matt Ritchie is good enough to play as left back. Every match I've watched him this season, he gets destroyed by the person on the left hand side. I mean, I've had enough of him, to be honest. A lot of players have had enough in this team, so I'm just going to blame it on him. But I'm just sick of seeing the same individuals. It's every week now. They're giving away goals. I mean, Brighton next week, you know, the fact that they're a good side of attacking. We are a bit of a bogus team, actually. We played them 8 times in the Premier League. We've never beat them. So, I mean, good luck for us next week. 0 wins in 10 now. But, I mean, Graham Jones should know better. He's replaced Steve Bruce for a couple of matches, and he's kept the same squad against Palace last week where we didn't play well in. And he's kept the same players, and then we didn't play well against. So, I mean, wow, who would have saw that one coming? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
I feel like we thought it might have been a bit of a breath of fresh air when Steve Bruce left and Graham Jones came in. But I think we've all realised now that Graham Jones is a coach and he's not a manager. You know, he's our attacking coach, or he was our attacking coach. He's not a manager of a football club, I don't think. You know, I'd like to see him stay on maybe with whoever comes in, and whether it's Fonseca, whether it's Favre, whether it's Martinez. But I'm just really not too sure at the minute. Could you take any positives out of that game on Saturday, Adam?
No. Well, actually, it was 0-0 half-time, so I suppose that's a positive. But no, there wasn't anything to say from that game. But speaking about Graham Jones before, you got to remember that, yes, Steve just got sacked, but all of his coaching staff is still in that dressing room. I mean, they're all useless. It's no way, all way of putting it, really. I mean, they're all useless. These players don't play for Graham Jones. They're not playing for the coaching staff. They're either a bunch of underperforming players or just a bunch of frauds, really, because this team finished 12th last season. We shouldn't be 19. We shouldn't have 0 wins in 10. We're competing with a team below us that scored 3 goals in 10 games this season. I mean, that's the sort of club we are now, competing with the likes of Norwich. They've scored 3 goals in 10 matches. I can't believe that. But in terms of Newcastle United, though, I mean, we should be doing so much better. Yes, I don't think we should be pushing to get anywhere, but we shouldn't be in the bottom 3. We shouldn't be nowhere near this relegation zone. And the fact is, we're serious content to go down now, because it's sort of likes of Leeds went today. I mean, it just puts more pressure. We're now 6 points already away from the 4th bottom. I mean, it's worrying times. The new manager's got to come in now, and I honestly feel like it's going to wait to the national break, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Exactly. You know, I think last season you looked and you thought, yeah, there's definitely 3 teams who are a lot worse than us. Now I think we are the 3 teams that are worse than just everyone else. We're part of them 3 teams. It's Norwich, there's us, and then, maybe Burnley, maybe like a Southampton or something like that. But it's really, really worrying times, isn't it? And we're so early in the season, and the fact that we know that we are really in quite a fight for survival, it is quite demoralising. I think seeing the players that we have as well, the like St. Maximin, Callum Wilson as well, do you think it's going to sort of demotivate them and we might sort of just fall foul to this relegation?
I feel like the team's already been demotivated. I think the Southampton game, I think, was a really big one this season. When you score a 90th minute winner and then your centre half, the captain, gives away a penalty in the 95th minute to cost you the game. I feel like that was the turning point this season. If we had won that match, we would have been a bit set off. I'm not going to make excuses because we still have played bad in all these matches, but if we had won that game, I don't think it would have been as bad as we were this season. I feel like the fact we haven't won a game yet is just putting a lot of... It's just affecting these players mentally, and they're just... I don't know what it is. They just don't seem up for it. The Chelsea game yesterday was a joke. I mean, the players didn't even try to win the ball. Chelsea just allowed them to have the ball all game. Like, I don't understand what the tactics were, what we were just trying to play for 0-0 or something. Like, I don't get it. And even when the fans were driving the players to get on, when they actually put pressure on Chelsea, Chelsea were kicking the ball out of play. They were panicking, like we were doing something, but... The problem is we don't perform. This team just doesn't care. And I'm sick of people saying, "Oh, well, it was Steve Bruce's fault. It was Mike Ashley's fault. They've left the club in a bad state." Well, no, of these footballers still got to do their job, and they're not doing their job. These players are getting paid over 10 grand a week, up towards so maybe 70, 80 grand. I mean, they're not good enough. I mean, these players need to take a look in the mirror because about 2/3 need to go.
And we look at the first half as well. It was 0-0 in the first half. So surely we're doing something right to keep Chelsea at bay. What happened to make it so we just crumbled in the second half?
We switched off, really. The first goal, it was on Matt Ritchie's side. Like, Reece James wins the ball by 10 yards away from the goal. He's got so much space. He's obviously going to score from there. And that's what it was, really. We just switched off and just give away a sloppy goal. I mean, you see this every single match. Newcastle just always switch off, always get chances. But, I mean, yes, it was 0-0 at half-time, but Chelsea did look like scoring in the first half. We just didn't get that clear-cut chance. They scored an offside goal and I had a couple of near-cut chances, but that was about it, really. Newcastle, I didn't think we had a shot in the game. I can't remember us having a shot that match. We never looked like scoring. We were never going to score. And, I mean, the most you can get from the game is a 0-0 because you're not going to score any points. So, yeah, I mean, it was just embarrassing. Yes, it was top of the table, but... Again, we don't get the points when the team's around. We've got to look for these sort of results. And I mean, in previous seasons, we would have got something against Chelsea, but not yesterday. Awful.
It worries me now because we have played the teams that are sort of around us. Your Watfords, teams like that. Brighton next, you could sort of argue one of the teams around us, although they are doing quite well this season so far. Let's talk about the manager's standpoint. So obviously, Graham Jones is still the boss at the moment, and he could take charge of the Brighton game as well. Is there any sort of news on which manager could come in? I'm just looking at the odds now for, potential new manager. Roberto Martinez is now the odds-on favourite with Unai Emery, Paulo Fonseca, Lucien Favre in the top 4, top 5 with Eddie Howe as well. Looking at those names, do you think any of them would be able to help us stay up?
Well, I mean, in terms of managers coming in, obviously we heard a lot about Fonseca last week. The likes of Amano tweeting out saying, he's been in direct contact with the club. He's going to be getting announced at some point, but everything's quieted down since then. And obviously when Nuno about to get sacked by Tottenham, you imagine Tottenham are going to try and go in for him. But I feel like Newcastle's best choice at the minute is to get a short-term for the season. Then at the end of the year, go for someone like a Benitez or Mourinho or one of these top-level managers, because I just can't see these sort of managers coming in at the minute because, I mean, Newcastle was a sinking ship, so why would you board that ship? I mean, that's how I kind of look at it. But yeah, in terms of managers, I feel like Newcastle need to go for a short-term one just to try and stay up this season. A manager's had experience in the Premier League, and I feel like whenever the end of the season comes, get rid of that manager and get a better one. And that's how I kind of look at it now. I can't really see us getting a top-level manager at this current time. Which
manager do you think could be that person, though, who steadies the ship just for the end of this season?
Well, I mean, the option's been going on all season long to replace Bruce, Eddie Howe, Frank Lampard, one of those two. I'm more of a Lampard man myself because I want to see different football with Eddie Howe. It's just be the same old defensive stuff. But yeah, I feel like on the Lampards, yes, he's an experience, but I mean, he's a leader among men. This guy's captain of the Champions League winning team, so I feel like him in the dressing room would definitely tell these players off and kick them on. So I feel like to the end of the season, he'd be a great option to bring in.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Frank Lampard. He's good with the youth as well, of course, bringing the likes of Mason Mount, Reece James up, and really establishing them as not world class players, but they're getting there. I definitely agree with you. I think this season is all about just getting a good manager in, just to steady the ship, like we said, someone who's got experience in just fighting for survival, of course, staying up as well. I think the one worry I have with Eddie Howe is the fact that he's not had a job in a couple of years. I don't know if that's his fault or if it's just because there haven't been any offers for him, but it does worry me because obviously tactics can get outdated quite quickly. We've noticed it with different managers previously. You look at Brendan Rodgers, who's quite a one-trick pony towards the end of the season. Would that be the same for the likes of Eddie Howe? I'm not too sure, but would you gamble it with Eddie Howe?
Well, last job Eddie Howe got was a relegation with Bournemouth. So, I mean, yes, he's definitely better than Bruce, of course, but I don't trust the guy. I mean, Ryan Fraser, for example, he outright hates Eddie Howe, so it wasn't great, good sort of work in the dressing room. Yes, Callum Wilson, Matt Ritchie had good experience with him, but I mean, again, Callum Wilson's last season under Eddie Howe, I mean, he had his worst season. I think he scored about 8 all season long, and he had about a 4-month goal drought at one point. So again, these sort of players under Eddie Howe, I mean, they have a good record in them in that final year, but again, I would put my money on Frank Lampard out of the two. I feel like he would be definitely the better of the two options. But I mean, we just have to wait and see. Really, I hope it's not Eddie Howe.
Yeah, Frank Lampard. You know what? I'll be right there with you, Frank Lampard, mate. We'll move on to the final section of this podcast, and it is, of course, just talking about the next game against Brighton. It's a 6-pointer again. I feel like every game now is going to be a 6-pointer. As daft as that phrase sounds, but we need to get a win. Do you think it could come at Brighton?
I'm always optimistic. Every match I put Newcastle to win this season, every time for haven't won. So again, I'll back us to win, but I mean, it's going to be a really tough game. The only thing Newcastle have going for us is the fact that Brighton's been a bit on and off lately. So we'll have to see if we get them on the right day. But it's a hard thing to play them. I feel like Graham Jones will get that match. He doesn't deserve it because I know for a fact he's going to play the same 11 again. That's been over the last 2 weeks. So yeah, I mean, we're all going to get. I think we're going to get thumped by them, to be honest. I really feel like Brighton, the way they play. I mean, again, like I've said before, we've played them 8 times in the Premier League. We have never beaten them. They've done the double overs last season, winning 3-0 both times. So Brighton love playing against Newcastle. They're confident against us. And Newcastle, with our esteem down at the minute, I just feel like it's going to be a near impossible game. I'll back us to win, but I really can't see it happening.
And they've just come off 3 separate games against really quite tough opposition in Man City, Leicester, and of course that draw against Liverpool yesterday as well. Surely they'll be chomping at the bit to get another win.
Well, yeah, every team in the league will be saying that, even Norwich, because we haven't won a match this season, so why would he be scared of Newcastle? But yeah, Brighton, of course, will be the favourites in this game. The fans will be on the backs, and we just have to see that Newcastle can get something going because, I mean, we've got to win at some point. We can't lose every game this season. We're not that bad, but yeah, the international break, I mean, it came out an okay time because when we get back, Brentford's the first game at home. That actually is a winnable match, I feel like. So Newcastle have got to be ready for that Brentford game because otherwise we lose that one. I mean, hell, we might as well just put the nail on the coffin already. But yeah, we've got to go for the Brighton game, though. Do not write it off. And fingers crossed Newcastle gets something going because we need these points. We need them now. Already 6 points in the fourth bottom.
You're at that Brighton game, aren't you, next weekend? It's on telly as well. So, I mean, best of luck to you for that travel, mate, because I know it's going to be an absolute nightmare. Are you taking the bus? Are you taking the train?
The bus, the trains are off for that one because the half like obviously you can't actually get back in the night. So, yeah, I don't get trains anyway, to be fair. But in terms of the bus, I mean, I went to Paris literally last week, and it's actually not that much further in Paris. It's about an hour more. So, yeah, I've already kind of done it last week. So, I don't mind it. Of course, obviously, it's my job now. So, it's kind of something I've got to get into. But yeah, every game this season I'll be going to all under 23s, the women's ones as well. So I'll be getting them all ticked off my belt. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's been a great day out. But again, as all away games go, it's always the football that ruins the day for you. So yeah, see how it goes.
Without a doubt, mate, you are definitely committed. It's about a 12-hour round trip for the Brighton game, all the games in London as well. Just before we go, what sort of things would you change tactically, and then a score prediction from yourself as well?
Well, first thing I would do is actually play players in the correct position. So no more Richie left back. No, put Jamal Lewis in for him. I'm one in centre mid. I know he hasn't particularly played there much, but again, do not stick him there. I would personally drop Lascelles or Clark. I've had enough of those two. One of them needs to go for me, if not both of them. So I mean, we've literally got a better bench in the start 11. You play like so Jamal Lewis, you got Fernandez, Shaw. I mean, you got Willicks on the bench as well. I mean, you literally got a better bench in the start 11. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, play a formation that suits these players and play a formation that gets these players going. I'm sick of the 5-back, so don't play a 5-back anymore. And if we lose with a 4-back, so be it. Try something new. I'm sick of seeing defensive, negative-minded football. I've had enough of it, but. Yeah, I would personally do that. But in terms of score prediction wise, 2-1 Newcastle is where I'm going to go for. I've got no logic going into it. It's just me just guessing at this point. But yeah, I'm hoping Newcastle gets something going because we desperately need points.
Adam P remaining as confident as ever. For me, I completely agree with you. Making sure, I think first and foremost that the defence is fine. I wouldn't want to play 5 at the back against Brighton. I think literally just go for it. I think we just got to go for it for the rest of the season. Score prediction though, I'm going to say it's just going to be a 1-0 or a 1-1. 1-0 Newcastle, I'm going to say. Callum Wilson getting on the score sheet. Let's hope though. But yeah, that is going to be it for the Behind the Leazes podcast. Thanks so much everyone for tuning into this podcast. Do let us know what you think. But we will be back next weekend covering the Brighton game. Thanks so much everyone for coming on, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.